Hey, what's going on, everyone? Figured I'd show you guys how to get some more power out of the old 3.1 V6 and 2.8 liters. There is a few differences between the 3.1 and the 2.8. Basically, they're pretty much identical. The 3.1 has a little bit longer stroke. That's where they get the 3.1 liters from. The 2.8's a shorter stroke. So I'll show you a few things here. What you can do to get a little more power out of these. We're going to be doing this on Dave's car soon. This is a Cavalier, first thing. This is Dave's plenum here. This is my old 2.8 plenum. I basically just cut out all the webbing in between. You don't have to do that yourself. I was just trying to get a little more power out of them back in the day. Just trying to let some of the heat out that was trapped under the plenum. It seemed to work pretty good. Whether it made any more power is hard to say, but it seemed to be a little more responsive, especially on the cooler nights. So first thing, I have this one here just to show you the throttle body. All these 3.1, 2.8 V6s came with a 52mm throttle body. There is no other throttle bodies that will bolt on directly to them that are larger. So what we're planning on doing to get a little more airflow out of Dave's 3.1, we're going to start with throttle body. This throttle body here is for a 3400 V6. It does not work. Basically all we're doing is grabbing this throttle body so we can grab the throttle plate out of it. You basically take the two screws out here, the Torx bits, and you pull those out, you open this up, and then that plate will just slide out from in between those bars. So then we basically take this throttle body here, take it to the machine shop, and you get them to basically, they'll go in and machine out the center so that plate will actually fit in that hole. So basically they open this up from 52mm up to 56 for you. As for cost, I'll let you know after we get ours done. There used to be a company years ago, I believe the company was called FDP. They used to make a 62mm throttle body for the 3.1s and 2.8s. That was a direct bolt-on. It was kind of that shape there. But they're no longer in business. They haven't been for a while. But if you can find one of those throttle bodies kicking around, it'd be a good idea to pick them up. So after you do all the other mods that I'm going to tell you about today, you'll want to look into injectors. Any 3400 injector will work as long as it's 99 and older. Any 3400 injector is an upgrade over the 2.8 and 3.1 injectors. They're not a huge difference, but it'll help if you're not planning on tuning the PCM right away. It has to look like this. If you get one of the newer 3400s, they look like that, and they will not directly drop right in. They'll take a little bit more work. As you can see, they are a little bit longer there. So, and the connectors are different on the ends as well. But to get something that drops right in, just get the 3400 injectors. If you find you still need more fuel, you get the 3/4 dual overhead cam injectors. They should drop right in as well. They also have the same connectors. I'm just trying to find the older stuff like that. This is the tricky part, see if it's still around or not. So if you can find them in the wreckers, it's a good idea to grab them. They do flow more than the 3400 ones do. So now I'm going to skip down to the head gaskets here. This is another good way to get a little more power out of these things. It's fairly simple if you have your heads off. I recommend doing it. You replace your stock head gaskets. Instead of ordering replacement gaskets for the regular 3.1, you'll want to, or 2.8, you'll want to order head gaskets for a 3.1 Camaro or Firebird, or 2.8. It'll be the same head gasket. As long as they're for a Camaro, or even like the Lumina APV, the minivans, they had iron heads up until about 95, I believe. So they'll be thinner as well. What the thinner head gasket does is it increases your compression ratio. Brings it up from around 8.9 to 1. I'll bring you up to about 9.4 if I remember correctly. So it's a good jump in compression. It really makes a difference in how these work. Alright, so another area of improvement would be the exhaust manifolds. These ones are from a 3400 Grand Am Laro. Most of the 3400s had this style from basically 99 up. I think some of the older ones had them as well. The 3400s anyways. The 3100s had a little bit different manifold. But this is the one you want to look for. You can put the whole 3400 manifold setup on. Basically this is the rear manifold. The front one's similar to the logs that are on the 3.1s and 2.8s. If you do this one, you'll have to use the crossover from the 3400 and the front manifold. And your fitting for the EGR, I believe, is different as well. But it can be done, and will give you a slight improvement over what you have on there now. You see it all bolts up. Matches up there nicely. Direct bolt on. The other thing you'll have to do though is you'll have to get a custom downpipe made up, because the factory one will not swap over and won't be modified very easily. Ideally you'd want to upgrade to at least a 2.25 or 2.5 inch right off of the manifold. If you have room, you can also do the 3500 exhaust manifolds. This is a front manifold off a G6. The rear manifold's a little different. I don't have one here right now to show you, but that would require a custom crossover. Also, the flanges are a little bit hard to get for these. You should be able to find a 3-bolt flange that matches up, and just make your own crossover and downpipes. But as you can see, they will also bolt up. Everything lines up. So that's probably the next best thing you can do for manifolds. You can also use a 3400 header flange. They bolt up. Then you can make your own headers if you've got a welder handy. And some pipes. You will want to use the gasket that matches the 3400 manifolds, just to have the best seal possible. Another simple mod you can do, you can find rocker arms from these are from a 94, 95, 3100 V6. Best way to tell them from the other 3100s is that they have plastic valve covers on them. They're 2 years only, but these rocker arms are supposed to be a 1:6 ratio, and the factory ones are a 1:5. Basically what that does is it changes the ratio of the leverage from the push rods to what it's putting on the valve. It's basically kind of like adding a camshaft. It just gives you just a little bit more lift out of your valves. So if you do get these, you want to make sure You grab the pivots and the nuts for them. I believe the pivots are different. It's a good idea just to keep them with the rockers that they were already on as well. Easiest way to tell them apart from the stalkers is that you see the little oil deflector on the top there. That's how you know that they are the 1.6 version.